Guys, I'm listening to Judge Ratha Amdts apologizing, and everybody goes, the media distribute that and say, the judge has finally apologized. Be like, okay, I get it, but there's something that the judge seems to be saying that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to, and that's exactly what I want us to talk about. One, judge apologized and gives us a history where he's coming from, his involvement in all black conscious movements, including but not limited to the ones whom he became a president for. But also he tells us a history of how he got involved in the ANC, how the history of his father, the wife, and his child, who was an advocate, by the way. He tells us all the history about those things. But he speaks about the fact that he wants to be removed from this trial, says it loud and clear publicly, but at the same time doesn't phrase it the way we would have loved him to phrase it. It is that I want us to focus on in today's episode. But I'm also going to insert this video from Judge Ratha Amdts himself speaking, so you can hear it yourself. Before I can successfully do that, let's start here. He tells us that, first of all, he was a member of the ANC. His father was involved in the Black Conscious Movement. How he became the president. At some point, he was the president of one of the Black Conscious Movement. How his wife convinced him that he needs to apologize. His son, who is older than Advocate Mshololo, who was an advocate himself, the son would have been displeased with this. The son is late. Some of the people that he worked with as a judge, some are sitting in the bench today in the High Court. They have phoned him, telling him, listen, you need to repent. Or they are saying that the racist remarks were unfortunate. So he's basically giving us the picture of what is going on behind the scenes. But I wanted us to pay attention to this. He mentions the judge president. Sat him down and say, you're out of hand, that you're out of order. The things you said here and here and here were uncalled for, should not be said, full stop. And he says, no, I agree with that. We say, oh. But the judge president was defending him, we were told, right? Not long ago. But now the judge president rebukes him. So it means that the judge president has got double standard himself. On the media, he defended Ratha. Secretly, he rebukes him. Where does the judge president stand? All right, we'll talk about that and more. I want us to explore the fact that the judge is saying, please do an application so I can be relieved and removed from this trial. Well, I think I'm joking. Listen to the judge here.
Yeah, there's one thing I must attend to. All of us, I suppose, we read newspapers. This is proper that I should address this issue. But initially I want to say I have been 26 years on the bench as an acting judge and as a judge. I have never, ever, ever behaved the way I did on Friday. And I've been 30 years as an attorney. Before I became a judge, 30 years I was an attorney. I spoke to the JP, and the JP spoke to me together with the DJP. And the JP rightfully excoriated me for my conduct, that it is not befitting of a judge of my experience and stature, that I should have behaved like I did. And I agree. My conduct was questionable and incorrect. And my wife also, who I thought, young Saba is afraid of me, told me that I should apologize to the whole of South Africa because I am worse than the attorneys who apparently steal the monies of clients in the RAF matter. She was reading a paper the other day about the fact that attorneys apparently, and they are colorless, stole about 1.5 billion of RAF funds which belong to clients. And I wish now to tender my sincerest apologies. It's contra my nature to do that. I have a son, he just died recently, who's an advocate. He's older than you, Ms. Mshololo. He was born in 1968. He died because of lymphatic cancer. I think he would have also have been disappointed at my conduct. That's why I say I heartily and unreservedly, with no qualification, apologize to my colleagues here, to the accused. They say I mustn't call you the accused. They are correct. The gentleman in front of me. And I've also been accused of being a racist. I want to just talk one or two things about me as a person without being a lawyer. I grew up in the house of Moses Kotane. Nelson Mandela used to come at home, Walter Sisulu, even Robert Sobukwe, before he broke away from the ANC. My father was involved as a member of the ANC and the Communist Party. He would be mortified to hear that I am a racist. And another thing which you may not know, my great-grandmother was a German. She was born in Bochum. Apparently he met some German priest, meaning my grandmother was a German. And I recall that she used to cut her hair, crop it short, so that people mustn't realize that she's got white blood. So I know everything about racism. I grew up also under the tutelage of the late Bishop Tutu. I was talking to his son, Trevor, yesterday at the seminary. So if you want to know me, whether I'm a racist or not, you can ask, for instance, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, Father Mkhatshwa, Professor Lesiba Tefu, Professor Seth Cooper, Professor Bani Pichana. I used to be a member of SASO. We founded SASO, 1968. I wasn't a leading light, but at Fort Hare, I was the secretary of the branch there. You can confirm that with Judge Selby Bakwa, who's here. And subsequently, I became a member of the Black People's Convention after the ANC was banned. And subsequently, I became a member of AZAPO, and I was the Secretary for Legal Affairs and Sport when Mrs. Khware was the president of AZAPO. I cut my teeth in politics together with Cyril Ramaphosa. He was my junior, actually, in politics. And I mean, I was tutored by people like Thabo Mbeki. He'd be shocked to hear that I'm a racist. So if people say I'm a racist, maybe I'm not aware of that. But if I trampled on any on his toes because of my racism, despite being an adherent to the Freedom Charter. 1955, I was there in Kliptown with my father. I wish to apologize for being a racist. I'll try and mend my ways, but I can tell you, it's not a conscious thing about me to be a racist. So I apologize. And the gentleman in front of me, if you believe that I, as a judge, I'm so useless, dumb, paluka, moho, etc., and you think you can't get a fair trial from me, please tell me. I'll recuse myself. Don't want to impose myself on people who doubt my integrity, honor, and dignity. And I mean it. If you think this judge, the way he's a racist, the way he doesn't care for the Constitution, he's not fit to be our judge, please tell me, and I'll recuse myself. Yeah, so that is the apology. My wife actually said to me, I must apologize even to the people of South Africa. And then I asked him jokingly, even the undocumented foreigners, he says, everybody. So I wish to apologize even to the politicians, because I'm told even politicians are worried about me. They want to summon me to Parliament. Don't know for what. And most graciously, I want to apologize to the Chief Justice Maya, to Chief Justice Zondo, to Chief Justice Mogoeng, and to all these colleagues. In particular, for instance, Dikgang Moseneke, Willie Seriti, because those are the contemporaries I started with. And I was also phoned by persons I've tutored as attorneys and advocates. Some of them are on the bench. Some of them are at the Constitutional Court. They were also shocked that I'm a racist. Okay, so I hope you accept my apology. And I also want to apologize to all the judges, all the magistrates, all the prosecutors, all the students who are studying law, even those who are not studying law, all the religious leaders, and anybody in South Africa who felt slighted and felt insulted, as the newspapers are saying, by my conduct. Okay, yes, Mr.
Okay, so when you listen to what he says, giving us the lecture or the history of how he is involved, he got involved in this. And then he says to the accused, which what he says can be interpreted in two ways. He says to the accused, listen, if you think that I am biased, if you think that I will not be able to give you justice, if you think that things on Gwebele Sagen, please do an application to recuse me. And then I'm like, you know, I've been listening to people. People have been saying, this judge, I'm not sure whether a friend of mine, William Mohoro, was said this, I'm not sure. People have been saying that this judge could be that he's misbehaving or doing all these things because he just wants to be removed from the trial. He can see the danger that is involved in this, and he does not want to continue, but there's no way out. So I think it's William who was saying that to me. He was like, it could be that these things that we're seeing, he's doing it, he has calculated, he's doing it very intentional, so he can be removed. But I'm going to tell you this. Removing him at this moment, I don't think it's going to be possible. I don't know. But let's look at the second thing that it can be said about the statement. Another person can argue, as it has been argued, that he has done that twice in a row. So when he's apologizing now One will say, why is he apologizing? We'll still interrogate the possibilities of him being recused and the implication of that. But before, park that. Ask the question here. Is, in English they say, fool me once, shame on me. They said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. In other words, it's not called a mistake now when it is happening twice. When it happens at first, it was not my fault. It was just a coincidence. But when it happens the second time, it's no longer that person's, look, what. That person cannot be blamed. I must be blamed for that. Take that logic and bring it into this conversation. The man has apologized twice. Is this a mistake or a deliberate effort? As William will say, he wants to be removed. Well, now, I want us to entertain the idea of being removed from this trial. And I'm saying, okay, if you're judge president and all the dignitaries of this country, especially the ones who are close to judicial, the police, the judicial, they do not want the Senzo Meyiwa trial on their roll. They want to finish this trial, close the chapter, and move on. So, to entertain an idea that you need, or a new law, a new judge might come to preside over this trial, hey, it's a horrifying thought to them. Right? To the Gauteng Division management team who manage the Gauteng Division. It's going to be a horrifying thought. But also it will speak to Judge, the Chief Justice, the current Chief Justice, Maya. She's managing the judicial in South Africa. She will have to account for this. That's another second aspect. But thirdly, it's been long. What do you say to a man who does not have previous convictions and does not have cases hanging over his head, such as Ntanzi, who could be free? Now, if you bring in a new charge, what do you say? Are you saying that he must just start afresh, live in prison forever and ever and ever? Amen. Do you see now the dilemma, the conundrum that we find ourselves in? Fourthly, the Senzo Meyiwa family. What are they saying about this? Are they feeling really? What will they say? Do they prefer this trial to start afresh with a new judge, or they prefer this judge to finish it and then appeal this and take this matter to SCA, Supreme Court of Appeal? At this moment, which one is better? Okay. They accuse themselves. Are they not horrified, but going to court every now and again? The lawyers, the defense seeks, are they going to go through the same thing yet again with a new judge who might start afresh, or the new judge will take over from Ratha and continue where he left if the application to recuse him is granted as he says he will grant it? Those are the things that when you look at the trial, you can't help but say, hey. You can't help but say, hey. So, you and I can say that, yeah, he must go. But I want you to think like you are from the Senzo Meyiwa family. Put yourself in their shoes and tell me what you think. Put yourself in the shoes of the accused and tell me what you think. Put yourself in the shoes of the Gauteng Division management who are managing this court. What do you think? Especially the accused. Specifically Ntanzi, or in particular Ntanzi. What would you do? And not unless, for me, I will say, okay, you can start afresh. But please, firstly, let's get a judge that will do bail application. You see this thing? Okay, So I will say, let's get a judge that will first do a bail application, right? And so, so first of all, let's get Ntanzi out on bail. If need be, we will all donate for his transportation. Every day he will attend the court from outside. Done. Once we deal with that and we're done, then we bring in a new judge, if need be. I've heard people that are launching complaints, and I'm asking myself, despite the complaints that are being launched or the applications that are being made, does it mean that they will wait until he's finished? If he finished the trial, then they can do something about the disciplinary the complaints against the judge? What is it going to happen concerning that? I'm very, 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 very worried, especially for accused number 2. I am very worried about that. So that's why for me it's a bit difficult to stand in here and say, remove the charge. Cause I'm looking at that guy, I'm like, this guy he's been in prison far too long. So how do we manage this? Now get into the comment section below. You tell me your thought and your opinion about all of these things. It's a bit tricky. It's a nice thing. It's a luxury from a content creation perspective. But really, when you think about it, guys, no, this thing is not an easy thing. Because we don't know. The judge, remember when Judge Ratha Amdts took over from Judge Maumela? Remember that we were told that they are still studying if the judge is capable of continuing from the notes from the previous person. We were told that he was going to take that option, but unfortunately he opted that the trial should start afresh. Then it started afresh. What if you bring in the new judge now? The new judge looks at the notes and feel like, nope, I can't. I want to start afresh. Then you start afresh. I'm saying, like, I'm being honest, it will make sense from a content creation perspective, but to be quite honest, if you put yourself, especially in the shoes of Bongantans, that's when you realize this thing is painful, guys. This thing is really painful. So I'm seriously conflicted to say, do I say, I continue with Ratha? But then listen to this one. What if at the end he sentenced them and they complain and says, but I gave you the opportunity to if you thought that I was biased, I gave you the opportunity. You should have removed me. But you trusted that I was going to do the right thing. Now that the judgment is not in your favor, now you complain. No. Do you see where we're going with this? Do you see how complicated this process can be? Give me your thought and your opinion about it. Which of these options do you choose? Keep the judge, appeal the decision in Supreme Court of Appeal, or make an application to recuse the judge? Which option will you opt for and why? Please give me a detailed report. Why will you choose that or such an option? I'm interested to hear that in the comment section below.